Impressive debut last night in front of a crowd of nearly 37,000 out at Aloha Stadium facing Division I AA Northern Colorado. For all intents and purposes, the game ended and all of the Warrior starters were out by halftime. Quarterback Colt Brennan and crew were on fire in the first half, scoring on nearly every possession. 5 different receivers saw the end zone, 4 in the first quarter, which is a new school record, by the way. The first to Kealoha Pilares. His first score as a Warrior was a 15-yarder that started the onslaught. He had 7 receptions for 64 yards, and that's Jason Rivers, who went over the century mark with 5 snags for 101 yards and a 30-yard touchdown. Devon Best was next, and then this 30-yarder to C.J. Hawthorne for his first score. It was 28-0 after the first frame. Brennan had 19 completions, which was also a new school record. Best started the second quarter off with his second score. And then the final highlight for the starters, this perfectly placed pass to Ryan Grice Mullins. Brennan finished 34 of 40 for 416 yards passing and a school record tying 6 touchdowns in the first half. It was 42-0 when the starters were pulled.
We took care of business. That's what we wanted to do. We had a great mentality all week. We had a great practice yesterday, Friday. And, you know, you could tell in the hotel today that something felt right, that we were, you know, going to come out today and take care of business, and we did that. And we're lucky now move on to the next game.
We felt real good and real confident. Coach did a good job all week. He pretty much preparing us mentally for the game. Like, we knew this was going to be the type of game where we couldn't go in cocky, you know. Coach did a great job at giving us all the looks all week, you know, and then, you know, once we got in the game, it was just a lot easier than it was in practice.
You know, put all the summer talk behind them, all the rankings and the schedule and all that stuff, you know, because just like I said, all that was out of our hands, and nothing we can do about that but play on this field. And you know, guys really stepped up to the plate and executed well. I think the first half, we had 1 drive, we didn't score, so I said it was a good start.
The second half was highlighted by a couple of special team rarities. The first was an 80-yard punt return to the house by Michael Washington. The backup slot back shined with his nifty moves and speed. In the end, it was the only score of the third quarter for both teams. Warrior defense caused turnovers, had some huge hits. 2 led to Warrior touchdowns and held the Bears to just 6 points and 182 total net yards. Brad Kalilimoko had 9 tackles, 8 solo. Solomon Elimimian posted 5 tackles, and Timo Paipuli had 7. Immediately following the Bears' lone touchdown, Hawaii responded with another special teams treat. Malcolm Lane took the ensuing kickoff back 94 yards for the score. Hawaii goes to 1-0 in 07, 63-6 the final score.
It didn't matter if it was the second team, the first team in there, we just pulled through and we just play our style of football, you know, without, you know, it's McMackin's new defense, and a lot of people didn't know what he had in store, but we came out with a bang. Hopefully, you know, La Tech and the rest of the WAC team see what we're bringing, and we just play positive, play for one another.
Coach Mack did a real good job. Like everything that we seen out there, it wasn't nothing that we didn't go over. So like we were all just calm about it. So they did a good job, the coaches.
You know, I knew they were ready to go, and you know, it's kind of fun to do all phases, the punt return, kickoff return, and offensive, defense, a lot of good things. We got a little ragged at the end with all the, you know, new guys in there, but I'm glad they got a chance to play.
63-6 the final score. Brennan's 416 yards leads the nation in week 1 of college football season. He is also one of 4 finalists for the AT&T All-American Player of the Week award. He's up against the quarterback from Appalachian State, the signal caller from UCLA, and the Rutgers running back. Fans can determine the winner by text messaging vote to 87654. You see that right there on the bottom of your screen. That is on their wireless phone. Warriors hit the road now for 2 games against Louisiana Tech and UNLV. Starting in Ruston on Saturday, kickoff is set for 1 o'clock. That is Hawaii time.
I'm proud of how they played, and they played, you know, with a lot of class and a lot of determination and all that stuff. I'm proud of how they played, and they played, you know, with a lot of class and a lot of determination and all that stuff, so that makes me proud.
You know, when we're as efficient as we are, especially with our second team as good as they are, you know, it's pretty dangerous.
How's it going, everybody? There's an old coaching cliche that says you're only as good as your last game. And 8 months and 7 days since beating Arizona State in the Hawaii Bowl in a game where UH looked that good, 23rd ranked Warriors returned to action last night, picking up right where they left off in a 63-6 smashing of Division I AA Northern Colorado. Heisman hopeful senior quarterback Colt Brennan kicked off the 2007 season with a bang, going 34 of 40 for a nation's best, 416 yards passing and 6 touchdowns in just 2 quarters of work. With 99 career scoring strikes, he moved into a tie at 6th in NCAA history with former high school teammate and Heisman Trophy winner Matt Leinart. His favorite target last night, junior receiver Ryan Grice Mullen. RGM hauled in 9 catches for 130 yards and 1 touchdown. Defensively, Roosevelt grad linebacker Brad Kalilimoku, he led the way with 9 tackles, and the special teams unit returned 2 touchdowns with Malcolm Lane's 94-yard kickoff return for 6 and Michael Washington's 80-yard punt return score. Warriors dominant in every facet of the game.
We had an idea of what they were going to do. We came out, they did exactly what we thought they were going to do, and we were able to just do what we do, and that's what it's all about.
You know, we was just mellow, you know, real calm, real laid back. You know, Colt came in there, you know, came in the huddle, real commanding, and, you know, took charge, you know, and he pretty much led the way.
This offense is going to be the talk of the town. It's going to be this defense this year. They're going to win us a lot of football games.
We came out with a bang, hopefully, you know, La Tech and the rest of the WAC team see what we're bringing. And we just play positive, play for one another, and try and get Colt to that first-round pick. If you just keep playing hard, man, this season's going to be amazing. One of the best seasons you guys will ever see.
So up next for the Warriors on the road against Louisiana Tech. Bulldogs are 1-0 after beating Central Arkansas 28-7 yesterday. Hawaii leads the all-time series 4 games to 1, but the last time UH traveled to Ruston, Bulldogs beat the Warriors 46-14 in 2005. Kickoff set for Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Hawaii time.
The biggest upset in football history went down yesterday as Appalachian State beat 5th-ranked Michigan. The Warrior football team, also taking on a Division I 2A opponent, took care of business last night to make sure that their game against Northern Colorado wasn't the second. Hawaii opened up strong last night, scoring 3 times in the first 8 minutes of the game. Colt Brennan played just the first 2 quarters, but it was more than enough time to rack up 416 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, he wasn't the only one who put up big first-half numbers. Hawaii receiver Jason Rivers had 5 catches for 101 yards and a score in the first quarter. It wasn't all offense, though, for the Warriors. Hawaii's D was also stellar, limiting the Bears to just 182 yards of total offense and forcing 3 costly turnovers along the way. The special teams wasn't too shabby either. Malcolm Lane made a name for himself with a fourth quarter 94-yard kickoff return for a score. Michael Washington didn't do too bad either, returning this punt 80 yards for yet another Warrior touchdown.
Mike Wash punt return, that was awesome. I mean, if you see me, you go back and check film, I was way down there in the end zone congratulating. Then, you know, when little Malcolm, you know, he did his thing, you know, and got into the end zone, I was all the way on the other end. But, you know, I congratulated them, but still told them, you know, they still the little babies on the team, so we still the big dogs. But, no, I'm glad they got their shine.
The guys came ready to play, and, you know, I knew they were ready to go. And, you know, it's kind of fun to do all phases, the punt return, kickoff return, and offensive, defense, a lot of good things. We got a little ragged at the end with all the, new guys in there, but I'm glad they got a chance to play.
You know, this offense is going to be the talk of the...
Even though Colt Brennan played just 1 half, it was more than enough to get him over the 10,000 passing yard mark for his career. Up next for the Warriors, a trip to Louisiana Tech next week. The Bulldogs are also 1-0. And don't